Hola, buenos días, ¿cómo estás? Bonjour, bonjour, guten Tag. Hello! These are some interview questions that I've been asked by the good people from Adventurous Ink. And they're good questions. There's quite a lot, so I'm going to jump in. Let's talk about adventures. I think that's why we're here. You're pretty keen on jumping into things, not just bodies of water, but have you ever regretted diving straight in, literally or metaphorically? Well, literally, no. Rivers, I do like jumping into them, but I always check before I jump in, and I definitely don't dive till I'm sure it's safe. There you are, a bit of health advice from your mum. Jumping into things. Sometimes I jump into a project and it kind of fizzles out. I've spent a couple of months writing a book that's then fizzled out. I've planned journeys and adventures that have fizzled out, and perhaps if I gave them a bit more initial thought, they might not have started in the first place and might have saved me some time. But on the other hand, I think that's offset by the benefit of jumping in, which is the momentum and the enthusiasm and the serendipity that can start to happen from it, and then things start to build up and grow legs. Generally though, I think before I jump in, I often do have an idea mulling away in my mind for quite a while, and it's the ones that won't quite go away that I then at some point think, to hell with it, and jump in and go for it then. What's the stupidest mode of transport you've ever used? Not asking this because we're planning a skate packing adventure. Not at all. Well, skate packing is, I have no idea what it is. So it's probably pretty stupid and therefore probably pretty fun. Stupidest mode of transport? Well, pulling a massive cart across the empty quarter desert is stupid, but it did lead to a cool trip, and it led to my first ever movie poster, which I've now put on my roof because I'm a full-on narcissist. I can see here this picture of a big cart covered in number plates that we found from Oman and the Emirates, a couple of mattresses on top, a couple of umbrellas to keep us out of the desert sun. That was a stupid cart. But what a trip. It turned into a comedy, fun, rewarding adventure. So go for it. Jump in, do something stupid. It'll make for an interesting story at least. I hear we should ask about the rafting trip in Sweden. You certainly should. Rafting down the Klarälven River. It's quite a popular holiday thing for people to do in Sweden. So it's not some wilderness expedition, and the logistics are all organised for you. But gosh, it's a fun way to spend a few days, to build a raft, a massive raft about 6 meters out of logs, drift down the river. And what I think was interesting about it was there's nothing to do. You take no point having your watch, there's no phone reception, the boat is so heavy, however hard you paddle it doesn't make much difference, it weighs a few tons. You just have to stop, slow down, drink tea, read books, talk to each other, watch the clouds and slow down. And what was fascinating was how hard we all found that to do for the first day or so, and then how much we treasured and loved it by the end, and how retrospectively we're so grateful for that. So I suppose the point of that raft is we're all far too manic, we're too fast, we struggle to slow down, and then we're really glad when we do. I'm about to go off social media and email for 6 weeks. I can't wait. The world will probably survive without me. Is there an adventure, even a micro-adventure, that didn't work out? But most of my adventures haven't quite worked out quite as planned. I set off from home to cycle to Australia and ended up in Cape Town, so that didn't work out quite as planned, but it turned out good in the end. So I think as long as you don't the kind of trips I do don't hold myself to some massively strict schedule and clear objective. And the objective is mostly just an excuse to hang my hat on, to give me the momentum to get going. And then all the stuff that happens along the way, that's the adventure, that's the point of it, that's the good stuff, even though you can't predict it, or it might not turn out quite how you planned, or you get soaking wet on a bivvy bag and don't see the view, and that's a bit miserable, but then it's a bit of character building and makes you be grateful for your bed. So I think by and large, I like the way most of my trips turn out. And I try to be relaxed about that and go with the flow. And planning really just gives me the confidence to get out the door and start. What's the best thing you tasted on your travels? Wow. Well, cold water from a stream when you're absolutely gasping for a drink. I remember in Egypt I'd completely run out of food and a man gave me a bit of stale bread and an onion, and I had a stale bread onion sandwich, and that tasted pretty delicious. Busking through Spain, a lady gave me a peach and I nearly cried. I did cry actually in Alaska when a car stopped, someone rolled down the window and gave me half a pizza. So I think hunger is the best sauce, as Robert Louis Stevenson said, and I think that's pretty true for adventures. If you could take only one luxury wherever you went, what would it be? Hey, one luxury. I often take a little jar of chili sauce. That helps. A camera, a notebook, a reading book, an eye mask, a pillow. These are things that would be pretty change my life on little adventures, I think. Oh, that sneeze. Your latest book has a raw honesty. Hey. Sorry. Your latest book has a raw honesty in that you talk about yourself and the life challenges you're facing that led to busking across Spain. So let's talk a little more about you. We like to think Adventurous Ink helps subscribers find themselves in the great outdoors. Have you found yourself out there? And if so, why do you think the outdoors has that special relationship with our psyche? I think the reason you find yourself in the outdoors and the reason that the outdoors has a special place for us is that the outdoors doesn't give a damn. You go climb a mountain because you want to be tough. The mountain doesn't care. You get to the top and you whoop. The mountain doesn't care. You fail and come down crying and bloodied. And the mountain doesn't care. And so really I think the outdoors is just a mirror or an echo for us to look at ourselves and to ask questions of ourselves, and to do so at a time when we're often not at our best. We're not at our Instagram preening best. We are tired and scared and facing failure and doubt, and we're lost and we're uncertain, and gosh, the metaphors for life are endless. And that forces you to look pretty deep into yourself, see that, well, either you're not quite the superhero you thought, or equally that you're not quite the loser you thought. And I've had times of both of those things, and it gives me space and time and distance to get perspective on things, like the way you step back from a painting to appreciate it. You step back a little bit from your life and appreciate it, and still the mountains don't care, because you're just a small little person with the same problems that everyone's had for thousands of years, and that helps put things in perspective. And they're beautiful, and they're fun, and they're exciting, and I think they're all good things to have in our lives as well. How do you stay relevant in today's world where there's an up-and-coming Instagram adventure around every corner? What do you mean? I'm still relevant. Geez, yeah, trying to make a career out of adventure is crazy, because all of the stuff I said in my last answer, it suddenly becomes more than that. It becomes a job, and it becomes showing off about yourself. Look at me now. I'm talking to a camera in a shed, hoping that people listen to me. The times when I've cared about up-and-coming people and being competitive against them and being jealous of them just doesn't make me happy, and it doesn't help. Whenever I get jealous of people online, I just unfollow them. I stop following them. I remove them from my mind, and I just try and do the things I'm doing as well as I can. And I do them because I enjoy them and they feel worthwhile to me, and hopefully there's a niche of people who also find what I do interesting. There's an online essay called 1,000 True Fans, which I read regularly, and that reminds me that I don't need to try and be the most famous, cool, upcoming person in the world. All I need is to find a niche of people who are interested in what I do, a sufficient niche to sell enough books to pay for my life, some tea bags, and my shed. And don't get all competitive about it all. Geez, It's not brain surgery, I'm just having adventures. And to not take yourself too seriously, that's really important. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received? I don't know what the best piece of advice I've ever received is. I think most of the advice that I've received in life is the cumulative wisdom of reading lots of books, lots of times, and gradually absorbing the lessons from them. Okay, here we go. The advice that drove my last book, my trip through Spain, and which has really helped me turn my own life around away from my online internet life, is a phrase I have up above my desk that says, from Jung, the life that I could still live, I should live. And the thoughts that I could still think, I should think. That's pretty good. Also, while we're here, above my desk, from a Derek Sivers blog post, it says, hell yeah or no. If someone asks me to do something, I think, hell yeah, I do it. If I don't think hell yeah, I say no. Because we can do anything in life, but we can't do everything. These are hard questions. What habit or lifestyle change has made the biggest impact on your well-being and happiness? Goodness. I think getting into the habit of exercise. I'm not an athlete and never have been, but now I've built exercise into just being a regular habit of my life and a part of my self-identity. And that makes me happier and healthier, and it invests in my future as well. It's absolute nonsense that people cannot get stronger or fitter or faster or lose weight. Eating properly, exercising properly, getting my body in the shape that it was designed to be in the caveman days is so important. So I think that has been a really good thing. Also, reading lots of books. I think that has been very good for my sanity, and although I put a lot of stuff on the internet, I don't really pay much attention to what everyone else is putting on the internet, and that helps. But please pay attention to me, please. Are you naturally gregarious? Does adventure help with that? Can we take something of that into our everyday? It's funny that you think I'm gregarious because I'm guessing you do, and I'm guessing it's because I'm cheerful guy talking to you on the internet. But actually, I'm talking to a camera in my shed on my own. I prefer being gregarious via the internet. I've really enjoyed trying to rally a community of micro-adventure people via the internet, getting tens of thousands of people in Facebook groups and doing stuff. I love that nature of being gregarious, but I don't like actually meeting people. I'm actually really quite shy. I hate social parties and things, and so I'm not very gregarious. So does adventure help with that? No. 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 But I do like going on adventures with other people, one or two other people. You are the epitome of the incredible folk we created Adventurous Ink to support. Thank you. Creativity stuff. You must have heard some heartwarming tales from people who've been inspired by you. Can you share any? I love it when people email me saying, I've read your book about cycling around the world and now I'm cycling around the world. Or people read the Micro Adventures book and take their kids off and go sleep on a hill. Those sort of things make the selfish, narcissistic, showing off world of adventure and writing about yourself feel worthwhile. So that's the stuff that I like. What's your favourite advice to help people live more adventurously? Oh gosh. I think to live more adventurously, you need to have big dreams, yeah! Which is what Instagram tells every day. And then the secret weapon is to have this massive dream and then work out the tiniest, smallest manifestation of that big dream and go do it. And that's why micro adventures have been popular. People want to go cycle around the world, but that's a bit of a hassle. So go cycle out to the local woods this weekend and camp out for the night and get a small little taste of it, build up some confidence and some momentum, shun that imposter syndrome, get out there and do stuff. So I think that's a really important thing. It's just thinking big and then starting really, really small. And also not striving for an adventure of a lifetime, but trying to have a lifetime of adventure. Go climb a tree in your lunch break today. Go swim in a river this evening. If you haven't gone camping on a hill by this weekend, well, you can do it. Go do it, and do it now, little and often. The similarity between living adventurously and starting a business, a step into the unknown. Given this is your livelihood, you've combined the business and adventure bits, which must be hard at times. Has it been hard? And when have you really felt it was worth it? So trying to make a career as an adventurer, my advice would be, well, there's lots of ways to do it. One, go and become a investment banker and get paid a basquillion pounds a year, but put a thing in your contract saying, I will only work 9 months a year, and then for 3 months a year, go and climb K2 and go to the North Pole and go to the South Pole. And you could be an adventurer that way. You could be an adventurer by being a school teacher and in your massive summer holidays cycling to Africa, and then in your evenings and weekends writing a book about it. So there's lots of ways to get money in order to have adventure. You don't have to do it the way I'm doing, which is to pour my whole life into the adventure. The parts of it I don't like is that the stuff I love has to then become monetized. So when I go climb a hill, I start thinking, oh, I should put this on Instagram because that'll make me look cool, and then people will buy my books. So there's a hazard of that. Also, you have to show off about yourself a lot to build a brand, which is nauseating. So you have to learn not to believe your own BS. And that's one of the reasons I got this shed, so that I could be Adventure Al when I'm in here, and when I head back to my home, I can just be normal Al, and separating those two worlds. I do a lot of talks about my adventures, and I generally really enjoy them, and it's certainly way easier than being down a coal mine. But at times I think telling the same stories over and over takes the gloss off the golden memory of adventure for the sheer hell of it, occasionally at times. It's sometimes hard because I get this envy, so I see other people getting speaking gigs or brand partnerships or things, and I think, hey, I should be doing that. But I'm sure equally there are a lot of people who see the things that I get and think, why is he getting it? He hasn't done anything interesting for years. I'm much cooler than him. So there's that side of things. It's not so good. And there's a lot of time answering emails and hustling for things, just like there is in any job. So it takes a lot of hard work to pretend that I don't do any work. So that's for sure. And also, of course, it took years and years and years and years and years of doing talks and scrabbling and hustling and working before I got to anywhere near thinking, I'm financially stable and things are okay. It takes many, many years to get to that point. Having said all that, I love it. I love coming to this shed on Monday morning and writing books or making films or coming up with projects. I love going to do talks at conferences about interesting stuff that really makes me think. I love the challenge of trying to sit down and turn my brain into a published book. So I really love it. I absolutely love it. And if I didn't, I wouldn't do it. Is it realistic to think those Instagram adventures can make a living at adventure? And what advice can you give to someone who wants to do so? Well, before I made a living out of adventure, I spent a few years saving up money by working in bars. And then I spent 4 years on a bike doing a massive adventure. And I did about 300 unpaid talks. And I wrote thousands and thousands of words of blog posts that no one read. And I wrote a book that everyone rejected. And in the end, I had to self-publish it. And then I did hundreds of school talks for very little money. And wrote hundreds of blog posts that nobody read. And then eventually, after years of all that, I gradually got to the point where I had enough content and I'd done enough adventures and I'd written enough books and I'd thought hard enough about all this to have some sort of credibility and start to earn enough money to buy a shed. And now I'm so rich I've got a shed. So it takes a long, long time. So my advice to someone who wants to do it is work out a way that you will pay for your life until you've established all those credibilities. Don't try and become an overnight success, because that is built on foundations of sand. And get your priorities right. The first thing you should be doing is going having a massive adventure, because adventure is important to you and it feels meaningful and important to you. And after that can come all the other stuff, but do it for the right reasons, do it slowly. And also, I would say, by the way, actually, Instagram influencers, 5 years ago, I had a book come out, Micro Adventures, and all of my marketing and efforts were through Facebook. And I sold so many books via Facebook. My new book that's just come out, Facebook is a dead ground. No one pays any attention to my Facebook, and now it's all Instagram. So I'd be very aware of putting all your eggs in one basket. And at the risk of sounding very old-fashioned, I think it's still important to be a blogger, to have your own content on your own piece of the internet, and to build up an email list through a useful, helpful, non-narcissistic email newsletter. That, I believe, will still be useful in 20 years. Will Instagram be here in 20 years? I've no idea, but I'd guess probably not. How do you go about working with brands and companies? Well, see question above. Spend years doing cool stuff. Spend years working hard at learning how to tell stories, take photos, make films. All of that took years. If you look at my early photography and films, they're awful. And my first talks were probably awful. My first book was definitely awful. So get good at all this sort of stuff. And what I started doing was I bought a digital SLR. It's the most expensive thing I'd ever bought. And I taught myself to start making films and things that were good. And just repeat that. And eventually, I guess brands started to see that and think, hey, this is quite good. Please will you come make something like this for us? And we'll give you some money. And I go, woohoo! And then I go, yes, I'll think about it. Yeah, no shortcut really. Do good stuff and you'll get there. But work hard. Right. Have you observed climate change firsthand whilst you've been adventuring? Have you had any insights into humankind that can help you deal with it? I haven't really seen any impacts of climate change. I've seen vast amounts of disgusting places that we've ruined, forests chopped down, plastic grossness on coastlines, plastic in the middle of oceans I've rowed across, disgustingly polluted rivers, obscene inequality of millionaires and poor people in slums living in cheek by jowl. So I've seen the worst of humankind, and the reason I've seen that is because I've been on so many adventures around the world. I've flown all over the place, which of course damages the thing that we love. And isn't that part of the problem? We damage the things we love. And I feel now as an adventurer, my responsibility towards promoting micro adventures, short, local, simple trips to do my best to just explore locally and close to home. I'm about to go off on a cycling for a month to explore home and local adventure, and trying to show that you don't need to go to the ends of the earth and therefore damage the earth in order to love the world and to learn to care for it, to learn to love it first, and then to learn how you're damaging it, and then to learn how to care for it. Where do you see the idea of micro adventures or living adventurously going? Well, so living adventurously, I've started a new newsletter about living adventurously, which I'd like you to sign up for, please. And the idea of that is trying to take all of the things of adventure, the daring yourself to do new stuff and being audacious and being bold and being curious and imaginative, and trying to just apply that to life in general, not just to youthful macho stuff crossing deserts and oceans. So just trying to live adventurously every day. And micro adventures, I see the power of that as being helping people with wanderlust and wanting to have adventures work out a way to actually have those regularly sewn through in the fabric of their life, rather than just saving for the adventure of a lifetime, a big cruise when you retire and then dying of a heart attack the week before. So I think that in my own life there's now becoming this coming together of actual adventures in the outdoors and the mindset with which I try and approach normal, busy, daily, real, urban life, and they all kind of come together. Which kind of explains the last answer of what adventures does the future hold for you? Well, I'm going off riding my bike for a month or so to try and have adventure without leaving home, and to talk to people about what living adventurously means to them and try and figure out how it might help apply to my own life. And then there'll be plenty of climbing trees and swimming in rivers and local adventures, having fun, having exciting adventures, and trying to encourage more people to go sleep on hills and climb trees and jump in rivers. Thank you. These are really good questions. If you're still listening now, then you clearly have not got very much to do. So you need to turn off your computer and go jump in a river. Thank you. Ooh, so many questions. My tea's gone cold. Goodbye. Thank you.